Obviously, these guys are jumping out, firing shots. Are there also officers trying to do CPR or trying to rescue attempts with the officer who was down while these guys are firing shots? How is that unfolding?
Yes, there were officers that stopped. Obviously, some of the officers proceeded and pressed on. And they typically what happens in those situations is some of the officers drop off and go to the aid of their fallen comrade, and then the others, continue on to address the situation. So yes, that does take place, and it did take place at this point. As far as any attempts or rescue attempts, I don't have information on that at this point.
So the officer sat in front of the pursuit then? Is that how he knew he was getting up? I guess I just don't understand when he knew that they were coming on that exit, and that if they were already getting off the exit, if he thought he had enough time to put him out there.
Well, keep in mind that as this goes on in a pursuit situation, you have you know what direction they're going, but you never know what direction they're going to go next. So the typical process in a police pursuit is to have enough vehicles involved in the actual pursuit in order to keep the suspects in view and deal with any situation you may encounter should you get them stopped. But at the same time, there's also other officers that are doing what we call paralleling, trying to cover other side streets, anticipating that at some point in time those individuals are probably going to change direction. It doesn't do any good to always be where they were. You need to try to be where they're going to be, or going to be. And that's all part of the training and all the part of the, you talk about the partnership, that's how it works. Everybody gets involved, and then they try to think this thing through and bring it to an end. So it doesn't surprise us at all that there was officers on the other side of the direction that the pursuit was going, because they already demonstrated twice that they turn around and go the other way. So you position yourself. It doesn't do any good to have 25 police cars all going in the same direction chasing the same car. It only takes 2 or 3, 4 cars to deal with that situation. The rest of them try to outthink or think ahead and see what they could do to possibly bring this to an end. And the other thing is, we had officers all the way up the freeway going eastbound that were starting to close off ramps, not to allow any more traffic onto that freeway, to try to get the cars that were on there, because there becomes a point in time where we can actually kind of flush those through, and now you get those citizens out of that danger. So there was officers all the way up as far as Plainfield already shutting down ramps to prevent other cars from getting onto that freeway in case that chase continued east. Unfortunately, it flipped the other way. It came back. So those officers do the same thing coming the other way, block the ramps, and don't let anybody else get down on that freeway and try to keep those citizens from inadvertently putting themselves in danger. So,
can I ask just a question to clarify something? Was he putting those strips on the ramp or on the highway?
Well, we don't know that, because he never got the strips out of his vehicle. The strips were still in the trunk of the car. So from what we know at this point, whatever took place at that moment, and hopefully through the investigation and the interviews and that, we'll be able to gather that information, try to kind of get a picture of what took place there. But the officer never got the stop sticks out of his trunk. So what took place there, that's all part of what we're going to try to determine.
Just to back up a little bit, to go back to the chronology of the chase. Got on at 68th onto 96, heading east.
East, yes.
How far down did he get before he turned around? Do you have any idea?
Yeah, I don't have an exact spot where he turned around, but they did not make it all the way to Alpine, because we had other vehicles already set up down there to try to deal with it at that point. They did not make it to Alpine. They turned around prior to Alpine and came back the other way. The dispatch tapes and the radio traffic that those officers call out, when we go back and review those, put it together, we'll be able to get a little better exact location where these turns took place.
And then you said they turned around and went back east again,
yes.
And then this was...
Then turned around, came back west again. So.
And when this happened, had they already gotten off the 8th Avenue exit off the highway when the officer was struck?
It happened right at, well, again, as I explained, at Apex. That's basically the area where the ramp and the freeway make their separation, and it was right in that area. So, if we have any more questions about things we haven't clarified here, I'll be glad to take them. Otherwise, I think we're going to wrap her up.
Just one, does it appear that the reason they were doing these turnarounds were to avoid police? I mean, you guys had a block off and they were turning around there to see if they could make it the other way?
I assume so. I mean, I don't think they missed their turnaround or they missed their turn. I think it was just obviously, trying to do whatever they could do to mix everybody else up, so.
And was the officer alone in his car? Was he in a single person?
He was fine.
Yes, single man car. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.